Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Pride Podcast, episode 386 on the Blue Wire Network. I am your host, Tyler, joined by my main guy, as always, Pierre. Pierre, how are we feeling today?
I'm feeling great, Tyler. I'm excited about the guest we have on.
We got a very special guest with us, our very first special guest of the new year, 2025, and we got you guys with a big one. Detroit Lions long snapper, Hogan Hatten. Hogan, what's up, brother?
Dude, doing well, guys. Hanging out in Phoenix, Scottsdale, Arizona, just hitting golf balls into the wind and praying they hit the green. So not too bad.
Hogan, you look like you're living the life, brother. You know, the season just ended. I see you're in Orlando last week at the Pro Bowl. Now you're in Phoenix, you said, Arizona right now. Hot weather. You left Michigan at a good time because it's cold here right now, and it's about to be icy weather here tomorrow. So you left at a good time. But let's start off with that trip in Orlando. You and Jake Bates, looks like you guys were down there in Orlando to support Jack Fox. How was that?
Oh, dude, it was awesome. I mean, what the NFL does for the Pro Bowl just makes me want to go back every year. So between Jake, and I, one of us better make it because we're going back. That thing is awesome.
Well, hopefully you guys are playing in Santa Clara next year, so you guys don't have to worry about that.
That's true. That's true. You know, one bowl, at least one bowl for the boys.
There you go.
We need it, yeah.
There you go.
All right, so let's take it back from the start when you first started playing. Were you like actually a long snapper, or were you a different position, then you switched to long snapper? How did you like become a long snapper? What's the story behind that?
Yeah, so I mean, I'll give you a short summary of my story. In high school, I long snapped just because we didn't have anybody else to do it. I was like, yeah, I put my hand up, I can do it, I'll do it. But then coming out into college, I was real stubborn on like not wanting the coaches to know I long snapped because I didn't want to be picked up as a long snapper. I was a linebacker my whole life. I wanted to be the badass linebacker. I'm like, I'm a linebacker. I don't want to be a long snapper in college. So I pretty much held that out from all of my recruiting. Like I didn't want anybody to know. Well, fast forward, my brother and I both end up going to the University of Idaho. He had bigger offers than I did. We were both originally committed to Brown, but we decommitted. So we were going to go Ivy League, didn't go Ivy League, went to Brown. My brother followed me because he wanted to be nice. So we both went to Idaho together. I played linebacker at Idaho all for 4 years and then took my fifth year just to long snap. But long story short, the first game of the year, our long snapper at Penn State, so my first NFL game, bounced 2 snaps. And they were like, hey, can anybody else do it? And I just wanted to get on the field. So I'm like, hey, you know what? I can do it. And ended up starting 53 straight games at long snapper, started 32 at linebacker. Pretty good career. And then kind of honed in on, hey, where can I go the furthest? Probably long snapping. And here I am now.
I kind of figured, Hogan. I didn't think anyone. I don't want to say anyone, but like I don't know like how many people like come into high school saying, "Hey, yeah, I want to be a long snapper growing up." So I was wondering how that was, and it's pretty cool for me to hear that you were a linebacker. I didn't know that. So is that your backup position right now? If let's say, hopefully, God forbid this would ever happen, a lot of injuries would happen. Let's say, is that your second position?
I would say it's my second position if I had to pick one.
Okay.
Now, like I played linebacker in the preseason against the Giants, which was kind of crazy. I didn't expect them to do that. I didn't think they'd throw me in, but they had me go to like all the meetings, do the linebacker drills for the first 3 weeks of camp, and then we hit our first preseason game. I snapped first in that game, had a tackle on punt, and then had 2 tackles at linebacker, and then they pulled me. They said I'm not playing linebacker anymore.
No way. I did not know that. That's actually crazy. Well, okay. Well, that's a completely different follow-up question now because I had no idea you actually had linebacker experience in the Detroit Lions. And our defensive coordinator now is the linebackers coach, Calvin Shepard. So I'm just curious. Tell me a little bit about Coach Shep. Now he's a DC. What are your thoughts there, man?
You're talking about my guy, Coach Shep, and I love Coach Shep. That dude is so deserving. He puts in so many hours to make sure that not just the linebackers are set, but really the entire defense. So he was helping AG out the entire time. The dude is solid, and he knows what he's doing, and he knows like how to run a defense really efficiently at an NFL level. Because a lot of the time it's just getting the dudes in the right spots, and he realizes that he's not too critical on his rules, and he knows that players make plays, and That's why you go see Kirby have as many interceptions as he has and Brian Branch have killer hits. It's, he lets the players make the plays.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that. I thought you were gonna say like center or like tight end or something like that. I feel like that's usually the prototypical answer for like a long snapper. That's what you see in Madden, at least, right? They're like always the 14 overall tight end, right? That's what I thought you were gonna say, honestly. So you're a linebacker. That's interesting, man. I didn't expect that.
My Madden overall actually isn't great. I mean, surprise. But my Madden overall is not great. I think it's like a 29 or 30. I don't know. But they gave me good tackling. They gave me like 75, 80 tackling. So I was pumped when I saw that. I'm like, okay, you know what? They realize.
You sometimes just go into franchise and put yourself at linebacker and just play a little bit.
Dude, Madden's going to hate to hear this, but I have not even played the new Madden 25. I haven't even played with myself. You can look up all the Madden ratings online. So that's what I did. I saw I was a 29, got pissed, said I don't want to play it.
No. Boy got the game. There we go. Boy got the game. All right. That's cool. I didn't expect it. But let's go back a little bit to college because you mentioned a little bit, but you're from Scottsdale, Arizona. A quick Google search there. So you're from Scottsdale, Arizona, beautiful area. We were just there for the Lions game, actually. Week 3, me and Pierre, we were there. Beautiful city.
Dude, I was there too. It was great.
Oh, yeah. How does a kid go from Scottsdale, Arizona to the University of Idaho?
Recruitment for football is weird. Personally, I mean, everybody probably thinks this, but I think my brother and I were under recruited. I mean, at Idaho, he's the number 1 receiver that Idaho's ever had. He broke the receiving record. He broke the receptions record. He broke the yards record. He broke the single season touchdown record. He broke the single season receiving record. Like, he broke everything. 33 career touchdowns, 16 in the season. I had a really good linebacker career at Idaho, even though I cut mine short with long snapping. But I felt like we were under recruited, and honestly, we were just happy to get an opportunity anywhere. Like, I would have played D2, I would have played D3. Idaho was my biggest offer, and I just stuck with that and ran.
Was it an adjustment going from Scottsdale, Arizona, you like kind of like a city life to like Idaho? It's a little different. Was that like an adjustment period for you, or you just kind of just went with it?
Yeah, it's definitely an adjustment, but I love Idaho so much, and I think every 18, 19, 20-year-old should go to a college town. Like, if you teach their own, you want to do your college dream at ASU, which I love ASU. I mean, there's plenty of reasons to love ASU. I get it.
Right.
But when you're in a place where there's 25,000 people and there's 20,000 students, the entire town, city, whatever you want to call it, is based straight out of the university. So you walk into the local bar, it's college kids everywhere. You walk into the local, dinner spot, it's college kids everywhere with Idaho flags hanging. So there's just a lot of pride for the school, where I'm here in Arizona and I walk around Phoenix or I walk around Tempe or anywhere. Nobody's wearing an ASU hat. Nobody's wearing an ASU shirt. Like, it's just not the same pride. Where you go to a smaller school, you're in a place that lives and breathes it. Everybody's all about the university and the athletics there.
Yeah, I'm sure you probably experienced that too with the pro team, right? Like Detroit, right? Lions fans, you probably see it everywhere, wherever you go around the city, always wearing anything to represent the city. If that's the Lions, Tigers, Michigan, Red Wings, Pistons, whatever, right? You probably see it all over the city. And I kind of noticed it too, is like when we went to the West Coast in Scottsdale, Arizona, it's like, I don't see it as much there. Like, I feel like the passion's just not there as much as sports compared to the Midwest or the East Coast.
Dude, and it breaks my heart too, because like this is where I'm from. Like, I'm from here, and I'm kind of trash talking where I'm at, but the Detroit itself is unbelievable. I mean, you can't walk a football field down the street without seeing somebody wear a Red Wings, Tigers, Lions. Like, it's everywhere, and that to me means so much as a player there. Like, the city, the support, the fans are unbelievable. Half of our away games were home games.
Right.
So like when we come back to the Cardinal Stadium where I'm from, you guys were there. I sit and look at the stands. I'm like, this is embarrassing. Like, this is my hometown team. Like, we can't fill the stands, but we're gonna fill it with Lions fans. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I used to feel
Yeah.
like that sometimes when the little rougher days of Lions. So you'd see like when the Packers were in town, like there's a lot of green and yellow here. But now, I mean, you guys are balling out, so you guys don't really have to worry about that as much anymore. But I used to feel kind of like the same way, like back then when we weren't all that. And I used to go to a game. It's like, man, dude, where are all these other fans coming from, taking over our stadium? It's just, I hate it, dude. But now that we're on the other side of it, I freaking love it, man.
Yeah, and we got Dan Campbell,
Yeah.
and hopefully we stay on the other side for a long time. I mean, I know I'm pretty spoiled where I show up and my NFL career is 15-3. Like that's ridiculous. Like that's
Right.
not like let alone making the playoffs, clinching the 1 seed, all that stuff is like people don't do that their entire career. And I happen to walk onto a team to do it year one. And it just goes to show like how talented the guys on our team are. And when we're back to healthy and really rolling, like we're gonna be so scary.
100%, man. Yeah, talk to Don Muhlbeck. He'll tell you some stories about the old Lions.
Yeah, he actually he got pissed at me this year because I snapped 3 game winners and 2 game tying field goals. So technically 5 like pressure field goals.
Right.
And he's like, dude, I think I had 4 my entire career. And he played for 17 years. So it's
That's
cool. It's
tough.
just fun to see the way that the team's going in terms of where it's been and where it's at now. It's unbelievable. I'm so thankful to walk into this.
100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not gonna like be born on third and act like I hit the triple. This team was good before I got here, guys.
No, Hogan,
yeah, we
you're
understand
the
that,
reason
but
you're the reason you're turning this around, baby. This
Yeah.
53 is because of you, baby.
That's right. Boom.
yeah. So it's the draft process. I don't know if you expect to get drafted or not, but then obviously you get that phone call, that 313 shows up on your phone. What was it like? What did they tell you? Did you expect Detroit? Did you expect a different team? How did that go?
Yeah, so I had about 6 teams pretty much extend me a contract saying like, hey, come here, we'll do this, then you can compete for the job during camp. But I knew 3 months before the draft, like when I was doing my pro day training, I had already had my agent, I had everything set. I said, if Detroit calls, I'm going to Detroit. Like that's the place to be this year. Like I promise that's the place to be. And uh I mean, I feel like I was right, so I'm pretty pumped that I was
Yeah.
right there. But this long snapper thing is so competitive where a lot of the times you have to look at who they only keep one on roster, so you got to look at who you're
Right.
going against. You got to look at where you could possibly end up. If things don't work out, is there another open door? So it's a really weird deal. But draft wise, I thought maybe one team was going to draft me, but I don't want to disclose that. I thought one team was going to pull the trigger. I got a bunch of calls from them, but I'm just happy I ended up where I did in Detroit.
Yeah. I mean, so ultimately, why was it Detroit? Because they did have a long snapper on the roster at the time. I believe it was Scott Daly who you were competing with in training camp. So why ultimately was Detroit like the team you for sure wanted to, attend?
Yeah, because there were 2 long snappers this last year that were injured. There's a guy named Nick Moore for the Baltimore Ravens, and then Scott Daly for the Lions. And I basically said, either one of those spots open up, like that's a spot to go compete against the guy who's coming off an injury. It's not easy to come off an injury and play at an NFL level. Like it's just not an easy thing to do.
Right.
So you kind of pick your targets and go, hey, those are spots that I should probably try to get to.
Okay. Well, that kind of explains the question. I was going to ask, how was your training camp process coming here and competing with Scott?
Yeah, I mean, Scott first and foremost just had a great year over in Chicago because he
Right.
got picked up
Yeah.
right away.
Yeah, deservedly so.
And I say that I think the guy's a top 10 snapper, top 15 snapper in the league. Like I think he's
Yeah.
that good to where I didn't expect him honestly to be as good as he was when I got there. And I'm like, God, dude, he's healthy, he's moving well, like he's snapping hard. This is going to be a tough dude to compete against. So to beat a guy out that I feel like is as good as he is, just was like a feather in my cap to myself. Like, okay, I do deserve to be here. Like, let's have a great year. It was a good jumpstart point, beating somebody out that deserves to be in the NFL, not somebody that their time's up.
Right. And when did you find that decision that you were going to be the long snapper for the Lions?
So this is where I turn and say Scott is one of the best dudes I've ever met in my entire life. They don't tell you if you make the team; they just tell you if you don't. So it's Sunday, the Sunday before they call the 53 man out, whether or not you're going to work on Monday.
Right.
I get a call from Scott, and he just said, "Hey man, I wanted to ring you up, tell you congratulations. You just won the job." And I mean, I literally almost cried hearing it from him. I'm like, Jesus, dude, like what a stand up man. And I was so happy to hear that he found a spot in his hometown place in Chicago.
Yeah, 100%. Now he gets a potential work with Ben and Randall and all those guys over there in Chicago.
Yeah, exactly. So a little part of the Lions is going to follow him, which is good, which is cool. I mean, I'm happy for all of them, really.
100%.
Yeah. You mentioned that you were in a lot of like game-winning kicks, tying kicks. What do you think was the most special moment during the 2024 season for
Moment
you?
for everybody, or just for me?
No, just like for you.
Dude, DePaula's gonna hate hearing me say this, but my first game winner at Minnesota, I just saw DePaula over at the Pro Bowl. Great dude, totally deserved it. Great player.
Yeah.
We're sitting there talking, and he's like, "Dude, do you remember what you said to me after the game?" I'm like, "No, I don't know, I don't really remember." He's like, "You came up to me and said, 'Hey, that was pretty cool. I guess my first game-winning snap.'" And he's like, "I was all pissed off already. We lost, and then you have to come over and tell me like, 'Hey, that was a good time.'" so I don't know, probably that one, just because it was special to get my first one out of the way.
Who coordinated that dance for Jake Bates after that kick?
Dude, we're big. So the Lions specialist group, we're big Costco guys. Probably not the greatest thing to admit. We're talking deep cut Costco guys, like cousin Angelo, like people you don't even like. So we're fans of them. And we were just rolling through, and I'm pretty sure the boom dance had like just come out, and Jake was showing it to us, but he never said he was going to do it. But when he pulled it out, I was pumped he pulled it out, because it's like, dude, show a little bit of confidence. Like, you just made a game winner. Like this is good. You belong in the league. And it was just hilarious to watch back on TV. That's for sure.
That was
Yeah, that was
unreal,
funny.
man. I mean, we just hit a freaking game-winning field goal versus the Vikings, big division game, and I see Bates hitting a freaking big AJ and big Justice Costco dance. It was unreal, man. It was electric. It was actually electric.
I'm pretty sure Quinn Ewers did it first, but we were pumped to see it out of Jake.
I didn't see it, so I'm gonna say it was Bates.
He made it way big. Yeah, he made it way bigger than Quinn Ewers did. So whatever.
Yeah.
That's not something I expected to hear from you. I didn't expect the special teams group to be big Costco guys. That was not something I was expecting. But
yeah, Jack for Christmas this year, it was pretty funny. He bought some football cards and cut them open like really strategically and nicely, so you couldn't tell that they were opened, and then stuffed Rizzler signed playing cards in there. So, and like he's a kid, he's like 7, so he doesn't know cursive. It's just like Rizzle, like it's not great. But just to think like he sat down and wrote those, hilarious. So then we opened these packs for Christmas thinking he got us football cards, and Jake's like, "Oh my God, guys, you won't believe it. You won't believe what I just pulled." Pulls up like a signed Rizzler card, and Jack just can't stop laughing knowing he loaded the deck. So pretty good. But yeah, we got Rizzler cards. That's how big of fans we are.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
How does the personality work with you three? Like, is it just it fit day one when you guys got together? Like, how does it work between you three, between you, Bates, and Fox?
Oh, I mean, we all mesh really, really well. And the part that's cool is we're truly all best friends. I mean, if you ask me, those two guys are my best friends in Michigan, and I'm sure they'd probably say the same thing about, vice versa. But Jake's a little more quiet. Jack is kind of intermediate, and I'm definitely the top of the list in terms of talking. Jack and Jake calm me down. I bring Jack and Jake up, and then Jack is just neutral. So it's pretty good. Like we kind of have our thing going where Yeah, I mean, during the game, Jack and I don't talk to Jake. Jake does his own thing. Like if you watch the game, comes over, gives us a couple dink knuckles. That's it. That's all we get. But that's that's how he operates. So you just kind of have to figure out how everybody works.
Yeah, but Bates has gone viral a couple times. The Costco dance, and then the where he was stretching in Santa Clara when you guys played the Niners. You know, he's had his moments for sure.
Yeah, that one they did him dirty on that one, but I don't know. 30 seconds of it on national TV is a little crazy, but
you got Troy Aikman laughing about it. Yeah, it was crazy.
Did
they
Campbell?
knew it was going to get views, so they're like, yeah, leave that bad boy up there. Don't show the softball he's stretching on. Just make it look like he's humping the ground. So
did Campbell blow that up a little? Just kind of like joke on him or fib? Did they have fun with that or not really?
dude, I don't think I heard Fib or Campbell bring it up a single time. I'm not even sure Campbell has a mobile phone. I'm pretty sure Campbell just uses like the Motorola one that flips up and down. Like I don't even think he has a phone.
A Razor?
Yeah, Uber. He probably doesn't even know what it is. Like that guy is so far out of the social media scene, which is good. Which I mean,
it's great. Yeah,
you don't need your head coach on social media, really.
Right.
Yeah.
I love those pictures when his wife posts them, like when they're at the coffee shop or something. And like I see Amon Ra repost them. I think it's great. It's gold.
Absolutely hilarious. I can't believe they post it on their real Instagrams too. Like they'll just put it in. It'll be like Amon Ra like with a catch, and it'll be like Amon Ra kind of flipping off the camera with a belt, and then like the next thing is like Dan holding a coffee. You're like, what?
I love it. I love it.
It's awesome.
All right, getting roll more back on the rails. Who was the first player? It could have been a teammate or somebody you played against. Like you're like, damn, I'm in the NFL. This is surreal. Like a single player team. You know, was there ever that moment for you?
Yeah. Weirdly enough, it was another long snapper when we played the Jaguars.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm not. Dude, this is gonna be weird, but I'm not like the biggest football fan. Like I don't really watch a ton of NFL football. Like even before I got in the NFL, like I'm like I like football. I love playing it, but like watching it to me, like sometimes it's give or take. So I don't like say I have the biggest fan base in terms of like, oh, this guy, that guy, this guy, that guy. But when I met Ross Matazik, like I just had so many coaches and so many like even current players or whatever say, hey, this is a guy like we see you being like, hey, this is a guy you could become. And dude, he's AP for, all pro 2 times now, Pro Bowls. The dude's a stud. So when I met him for the first time, it was like, whoa, like this is the guy that everybody said I could try to be like. So that was a pretty cool feeling for me. But obviously, like when Jared Goff walks in the locker room for the first time and my locker's next to him, it's like, okay, this is troll. Like, what's going on here? You could have put me in the corner. Now I'm next to Jared. Like,
right. What was your favorite sport growing up then? If it wasn't football, you could be watching or whatever.
My favorite to play. Baseball
like watching
to watch. Baseball. Okay. I still watch baseball pretty religiously. I don't know. I think ever since they made the pitch clock 15 seconds, the game's gotten so much better. It's beating the NBA now in ratings, in money, which is like sad because the NBA has a way better product, but baseball is more entertaining for people now.
So are you a D-backs fan?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
For sure, D-backs fan.
I know we're on live, but I could have cut that out and said like you got to support the Tigers. Something like, wait, the Tigers second team.
Oh no, yeah, Tigers are number 2 though. I went to a ton of Tigers games. I just love baseball. Yeah, I love going to the games. I love everything about it. Ripping the Miller Lite porch, like everything. Like it's all great.
Yeah, it's a great time at Comerica.
There you go. It's fun, man. So you mentioned Mule. Obviously, Mule was a longtime fan favorite here, and then he gets to work with you. Give us like your best non-Mule backstory. It doesn't have to be could be off the field in the during a game or during a meeting. What's your best Mule story?
God, I mean, so the guy's an absolute legend to me, and he's really fun to work with. I don't really have like a crazy story. It's just like he does like quirky, funny things. Like I'll be like, hey, I'll help Jack warm up pregame, and Mule's like, no, I do that. You're like, okay, yeah, cool, like whatever, that's what you do. So it's just like quirky things. But he's not He's a pretty chill dude. He's a great mentor. Like and that's probably why I don't have any crazy stories. Is he tries to be such a good mentor to me and
Hmm.
the position I'm in. So yeah, I just have 5-star reviews for the dude all the way around. I don't have any crazy stories.
Yeah, it's crazy that a long snapper, no offense, is like a fan favorite though. Everyone remembers Don Muhlbach. Like he's just a guy that's a legend, you know. It's like it used to be the sake every single year when he made the team. Death, taxes, Muhlbach. Like that was just the given every single year.
Yep.
It was a given, you know, and he just lasted forever. And they tried to replace him at one point. They drafted a long snapper in 2016. Muhlbach still beat his ass. He still won the job. The guy's a badass. The guy's an absolute badass. One of my favorite players of all time. And I know it's crazy to say.
No, dude, the guy's a total badass. And dude, he's like a cockroach. You just can't kill him. Can't get rid
Can't
of
kill
him.
him.
Still
No.
in the building.
Yep.
Still in the building. Still there. Like actually I got my Muhlbach story. It
Let's
was
hear it.
the day he was cut. The day he was cut, it was his birthday, and he
Yes.
brought like a whole bunch of champagne and cake for everybody. And then they cut him on his birthday.
I was devastated. Dude,
So he's like, I got all this champagne and cake to get released on my birthday. Yeah, that's probably.
No,
That's
I was
probably it.
devastated to hear that. And Dan Gamble was like, he was like actually legitimately pissed off when he found out it was his birthday and he cut him that same day. He goes, I'm an asshole. I messed up. I could have waited or done this before or something like that. Like he was
Yeah.
pissed off. He waited so long or like to do it on his birthday. So, the dude's a badass. All right,
The dude's great.
yeah, I'm gonna ask you one more question, then we can get out of here. We asked about Muhlbach. Let's ask about your special teams coach, Dave Phipp. The guy seems like an absolute gem. Tell me about Dave Phipp.
Oh, Phipp is my perfect coach. And I don't say that lightly. Like the guy is exactly what I need to compete at my highest level. I mean, he really does get pretty much everything out of me. He's so smart. He knows exactly what he's saying, but he's also freeing to the player. Like he always turns to Jake Bates, for example, and he'd be like, "Hey, on this kickoff, we're gonna kind of look for a knuckling, blah 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 blah," and Phipp will, Jake will turn to Phipp and go, "Well, what do you think?" And Phipp goes, "I don't know. You're the pro. Like you're the one that's a professional. Like you figure it out." So then he lets you explore your own ways of doing things. So he'll be like, "Hey, Hatten, I need you to get your head up faster." And I'll be like, "Well, what do you? Well, you're the pro. So why don't you go explore ways to get your head up faster, and then we can come back and talk about it." And it's like, all right, like that's pretty smart. You give the player the freedom to figure out their own way to do things and play at their highest level. You're just going to get more out of people, especially when you're making them go step by step through the process.
Yeah, I mean, the guy seems like an absolute gem. I remember it was one of those post-game locker room speeches when you guys balled out on special teams. It was versus the Titans, I believe.
Titans.
Yeah, I mean, just seems like an absolute gem. It seems like the whole locker room obviously, respects and loves him. So seems like an absolute gem.
And I mean, hopefully he doesn't mind me sharing secrets, but he gave one of the best special teams meetings I had ever been a part of in my entire life. Like ever. We were going to play the Green Bay Packers last game of the year, or second to last game of the year, last game of the regular season. And he goes, "I want everybody in this room to understand this. Like this entire team, because we were the best, technically we're the best punt unit of all time, like in terms of numbers, right? With our net average of 46.2, shout out Jack Fox. But he goes, our right gunner was a guy named Stowe. I forgot his name. We picked him up late, but he was a 7th round draft pick, bounced around on teams, finally made his way to the Lions. Our wing is a guy named Craig Reynolds, who played Division II football at some place in Pennsylvania that I can't even tell you the name. The guy to the right of him is Shane Zylstra, who played at Minnesota State, which is a D2 school, bounced around, wasn't drafted. Same with Craig, not drafted, found their way on a team. The guy to the right of him is a guy named is Pittman, and Pittman played at Wayne State, D2, wasn't drafted, bounced around teams, went to the Jaguars, came back to the Lions.
Yep.
I was an undrafted guy. The guy behind me, Germ, was a 5th rounder. Jack Fox was an undrafted guy. The guy to the left of me, Ben Neiman, was undrafted, went to the Chiefs, bounced around, got cut, release, back now. Now he's the left gunner on our punt unit. The guy to the left of him was God, don't do this right now. I know the punt unit, okay? But they bounced around because then Campbell moved. Trevor Nowowski. Trevor Nowowski was a D2 guy. Played at
Grand Valley, I believe, right?
no, he played at something state. Saginaw Valley
Saginaw.
State.
Yeah, I knew he was in Michigan. Yeah.
So he's another D2 guy. Then Sione Vaki, who's a third round draft pick, our highest draft pick on the team. Like our highest was a third rounder on our starting NFL punt team. And then outside of him is Vildor, who's an undrafted guy, went to the Bears, bounced around, cut release, made his way on the team. Like our punt unit was the grimiest, meanest group of dudes because all of us have been told no our entire life. Like, hey, you're not good enough. You're not going to make it. This, that. And sometimes in the NFL, effort in special teams is all you need. I mean, look at Nick Ballore. That dude's a beast and just goes 100 miles an hour all the time for the Commanders. Like, it's his 13th or 14th year. Like, our punt unit to be considered one of the best punt units of all time, to look at the guys on the team just shows, like, dude, that is literally everything that Detroit's about. Like, all the grit in one room, everybody playing their ass off.
100%, yeah. Ballore was one of those guys I really respect. Him and Cabinda. You weren't here with Cabinda, but yeah, another guy, just a grinder on special teams. You know, who was a linebacker, moved to fullback, and just lasted a while on the Lions squad for a minute. So he was absolute grinder on special teams. So, all right, Hogan, I appreciate you so much for joining, taking some time out of your day and joining us. So I appreciate you so much. Is there anything you want to promote? Instagram, social media, anything you got going on?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about maybe starting a golf channel. I don't know. I'm playing a lot of golf lately. But yeah, Instagram's Hogan_Hatten. That's about it.
Okay. All right, Hogan. I appreciate you so much, man.
Dude, I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Take care.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. Have a safe off season.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Seriously. No kidding. I gotta be smart with knives and shit.
Yeah, let's not do that. All right, guys. Hope you guys all enjoyed. We will see you guys next week for another episode. Peace out, guys.
Yep. See you, brother.
All right, guys. I'm out. Peace.